protagonist has always been struggling to make good connections with people, finding it challenging, and as a result trapping himself in his house for long periods of time in complete isolation. In Japan, a term is used to describe people who go through this, known as hikikomori. Shinji, the hikikomori who has been isolating himself for a long time, suddenly gets a notification from a person on his messaging app. It is past 9 p.m. and Shinji pauses his video game to go and check the message. The message is from a woman who writes to Shinji expressing that she is worried about something. She talks about a person they mutually know as Hideo, someone from the recovery center that they seemingly all were in. This might mean Shinji alongside both these people met each other in a recovery center where they were being treated for something. This woman explains Hideo has been writing her about some strange, disturbing things. She is in desperate need of someone to talk to, but Shinji, being antisocial and isolated for such a long time, feels overwhelmed and refuses to talk to her. The woman begs Shinji to talk to her as she has heard Hideo has been worried someone or something has been trying to get into his apartment, but Shinji simply dismisses the messages and ignores her. All of a sudden, Shinji's doorbell rings, startling him. Looking through the peephole, trying his hardest to avoid any social contact, he sees his pizza being delivered. He swears at the delivery girl that he specifically asked them to leave the pizza at the door. Poor delivery girl apologizes, leaving the pizza at the door, leaving, while Shinji swears under his breath, displaying his dismay and dislike towards people. This clearly shows that he has been hurt in some way or another by people, hence his lack of desire to socialize. Receiving a phone call, the mother begs Shinji to face reality and go out, find a job and live life. But Shinji chooses to play video games all day long, be lazy and antisocial, leeching on the parents for money. He demands to get more money from them, but the mother, concerned about him, explains that they have decided to stop funding him as they really want him to get out and live a real life. An entitled and rude Shinji insults the mother and hangs up the phone on her, which displays that he is a very unpleasant and irresponsible person. This explains how Shinji has been able to support himself for such a long time without a job or income. Looking at himself in the mirror of his bathroom, we see Shinji as an adult man, not a teenager or a young person. He has been wasting his life and the better part of his youth trapped in his own apartment, refusing to socialize. Shinji, losing his appetite after learning that he could end up homeless if the parents stop funding him, he decides to head to bed and sleep. Being close to midnight, he hears the doorbell ringing again, with the debt collector bothering Shinji, pushing to get the fee for the TV license. Shinji lies that he doesn't even own a TV and refuses to open the door. The debt collector leaves, but not before making some threats of taking Shinji to court. Right after the debt collector leaves, the friend on the messaging app urges Shinji to watch the news. As he turns on the TV that he lied he doesn't have, his eyes open wide, completely speechless, seeing a news report being about the friend that she was talking about, the one she was worried about, Hideo. His lifeless body has been found in his apartment, being badly mutilated. His injuries are depicting that he was attacked by a large animal, which has left the authorities baffled, as how could an animal enter his apartment without a trace? Hideo was a 23-year-old who, similarly to Shinji, was an introverted hikikomori, isolating himself in his apartment. That's when the mutual friend, the girl on the messaging app, who is called Junko, calls Shinji and tells him the horrifying truth. Hideo told her the strange events happening to him before dying. He was haunted by paranormal events and monsters. The troubling news is that this monster is after all of them. She warns Shinji whatever he does not to look into its eyes before the line drops. Shinji is overtaken by fear. He feels a cold shiver, seeing how the network has been completely cut off with no way of contacting the outside world. Deep in thoughts, the doorbell rings, making him jump. Fear controls his mind, thinking of the worst. Looking through the peephole, he is shocked to see the same delivery girl delivering another pizza to his door. Shinji explains through the door that he didn't order any pizza, when the woman behind the door changes her demeanor, smiling in a deranged manner when backing up slowly. This could be an imposter, not the real delivery girl, but the monster Junko was talking about. And now it seems to be too late already, as Shinji already looked into the eyes of this unknown monster. Soon, horrifying events start happening to Shinji. things that he cannot understand. First, he gets a call from an unknown number despite the network being cut off, where the mother, in a disappointing manner, compares Shinji to his brother, putting him down and condescending him of what a loser he is. Then the delivery girl comes to the door again, mentally insulting and tormenting Shinji on how he is a lonely loser without a girlfriend and how badly he wants to have one. But due to his loneliness and lack of self-confidence, he doesn't see himself ever being worthy of having one. The hallway outside starts transforming into what looks like pits of hell, with the pizza delivery woman laughing manically, feeling his legs getting weak, tumbling down backwards. The radio plays on its own, reporting on hikikomori, the isolated community of people who trap themselves in their apartments or houses. The narrator breaks down the harsh reality of being isolated in the house, on how the victims choose to trap themselves in their apartments or houses as a way of escape. Yet, they are desperate for some human connection, but being trapped indoors will never give them a chance for a change. Shinji feels like his head is spinning, as if something is specifically targeting him. He decides to take a bath to relax, as the fear would keep him from sleeping. As he fills up the tub, trying to relax, he looks at the wall next to him, where he sees a large eyeball emerging out of the wall, staring at him. The shock makes Shinji jump out of the tub, rushing to his computer to talk to his friend Junko. Junko instructs Shinji to destroy the eye immediately, as that is exactly what happened to Hideo before his death. These eyes would increase and multiply if not destroyed. Shinji does exactly that, using a knife to destroy the eye. Shinji finds many more gazing eyes in the apartment, which he destroys, who then decides to leave the apartment through the ledge in the balcony to get to his neighbor or someone else. That's when he notices that the world has shifted in a surreal way, with the neighbor's balcony being gone, disappeared in thin air, leaving Shinji with no other choice but to get back to his own apartment. The door to his apartment opens, where he finds a hall filled with fleshy organs and body parts. Knowing from before, he needs to destroy the eyes in order to make things go back to normal. Within the halls, a monstrous entity appears, causing Shinji to lose his mind and go insane if he looks at it. As a result, he covers his eyes to prevent any psychological damage. Managing to destroy all the eyes, he rushes into the elevator and presses on the ground floor button, extremely happy that he will make it out alive. Just as the doors to the elevator open, Shinji's excitement disappears. He finds himself back on his apartment's floor, revealing that he is trapped. His worst nightmare has come true to a more literal way. He has always been trapping himself in his apartment, but now he is trapped for real with a scary, ever-gazing guy, forcing him to stay home at all times. Going back to his apartment, the world transforms yet again into a low-poly world, as if he is traversing across a game world. The nightmare he has put himself in comes to reality, being trapped in the games that he watches through screen. Going into a pocket dimension, he reaches a door which would potentially allow him to leave this hell behind. This door leads to his apartment when he hears the messaging app ringtone with Junko calling him. Junko sounds terrified and screams for help that the monster is there for her now as well. The eyes are there, and she has seen the monster. Before she can say anything else, she screams and cries in fear before the line is cut. That's when Shinji realizes what both Junko and Hideo thought were wrong. The way to survive is not to destroy the eyes and hide and run away from the ever-gazing monster, but instead, it is to face the fear. The crippling fear that has been impacting them for their entire lives. The fear of people and public. The fear of being looked at and socializing. Hideo, Shinji, and Junko all seem to have suffered from fear of public, trapping themselves in their apartments. They met in a treatment or recovery group who all suffered from similar problems. This fear of rejection has come to life in a surreal and literal manner as a monster tormenting them all. The only way to defeat this monster is through facing it head on. Doing that, looking back at the monster actually works, with it dissolving and being defeated. Shinji, despite being overwhelmed by fear, continues on and takes the elevator. Reaching a pitch-black room, he finds a copy of himself cowering in a corner, being weak and defeated, possibly by the trauma and fear, being isolated and trapped. As he tries to help himself, the monster comes and kills him, revealing that he has not really been freed yet, and there is something else that he must have done. On the other hand, if Shinji goes through the deep forest rather than opening the door and running away, he comes across a monster as if being the representation of himself, a scared, isolated entity who weeps and moans, yet acts on impulse and with hostility. This monster chases after Shinji, and in the meantime, Shinji watches a large TV advertising the goals and plans of everyone in life, which has been echoing deep in his mind. Getting a university degree, getting a job and a career and a family, investing in capital and increasing wealth. These are things Shinji deeply wanted but was afraid of. Going through these mental echoes which are vividly shown to him, the scared and cowardly monster soon uncovers its face, revealing to have been none other than Shinji himself, someone who has been preventing himself from even trying to achieve these things that he desperately wanted. Shinji eventually goes through the door, getting to his apartment. Similarly to the last ending, he talks to Junko, realizing that the only way to battle this monster is to face it. In other words, he has to face his own insecurities and fears. Eventually, he takes the elevator to go down, but this time around, instead of seeing himself covering his face in fear in a dark, isolated room, he finds a door leading to freedom with bright white light, allowing him to finally escape. This metaphoric escape represents his freedom from the shackles that Shinji had made for himself, being trapped in his apartment rather than going to the outside world and exploring it, aiming high and chasing his desires. And on that note, this will be the good ending where Shinji is actually free. And this brings us to the end of the video, folks. If you enjoyed it, make sure to stay tuned for more by hitting on the subscribe button and the notification bell. As always, it's been your host Star. Thanks for being here, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.